Good afternoon, everybody. Here we are, Monday, 6th of May 2019. Here we are for session 37 of the Admiral Markets webinar series on mastering the 4 M's of trading. My name is Paul Wallace. I'm your guide for our sessions today. I'm a trader, analyst, and coach. Thank you for joining us, whether you're joining us here live today or watching us on the archive. As always, we look to begin with just a very quick risk disclaimer. Trading with financial instruments offered by Admiral Markets carries a high level of risk, which is not suitable for all investors due to their complex nature. Before entering into client agreement or making a transaction, please make sure to read the terms and conditions of our service. Consult a specialist if necessary to ensure you understand the risks involved in trading. This presentation and the accompanying video is for information and educational purposes only. Online educational materials are developed by Admiral Markets and distributed by Admiral Markets Group investment firms for a global audience. Therefore, please take into consideration that the information in this session may not be suitable for everyone. As of August 2018, the regulation within the European Union differs for retail clients and professional clients. In our presentation, we use demo trading accounts where all clients could still use a high leverage in a risk-free environment. Before opening a live trading account, please consider the differences between retail and professional trading terms. Retail clients benefit from unlimited negative balance protection. Professional clients at Admiral Markets UK receive a compensation of account deficits with the maximum payout of £50,000 sterling as per our negative balance protection policy. Of course, we'd like you to trade with Admiral Markets, and what we offer here at Admiral Markets is that for two of our most popular trading instruments, both the DAX 30 and the Eurodollar, you can see that we offer very competitive trading spreads during the main trading hours. We also offer both the MT4 and MT5 platform with our own Admiral Markets Supreme Edition. We're also Admiral Markets is, it's one broker, but it has a global offer, and we are regulated in many entities around the globe. If you speak to your account representative, they'll be very happy to guide you to opening a trading account with the most suitable entity for yourself. So, as always, ladies and gentlemen, expectations for our 4M sessions, for me to educate you about the 4Ms of trading, so you can go away and begin to analyze any market and be ready to trade it, and also to help raise your self-awareness about managing risk and managing yourself. As always, I realize we have a broad range of experience in the room, and we're under the time limitations of 45 minutes. So, we can't always go into real depth on many of the topics, but we always focus on tools that you can use tomorrow in your own trading. By now, most people would understand what we talk about when we're talking about mastering the 4Ms of trading. What we're talking about is markets, method, money, and myself. Because in my experience, both as a trader for hedge funds and trader for myself, as working with thousands of traders over the last 10 years, what we realize is that traders who are on top of those 4Ms of trading, that is when they're in the position to deliver their best trading performance. Alternatively, if you're having a bit of a challenge with your trading, well, then invariably one of the issues is normally one of those areas, and it can start to help us get clearer on where our challenges and what we need to do to address those challenges. So we talked a little bit last week about what's happening before markets even open. Okay, having talked about having our 10 steps, which we touch upon later, we said for the next couple of weeks what we'd look at is what can we do before we even sort of sit down at our charts. What is it that we actually need to take on board with our trading? That's what we're looking at last week. Okay, and that's what we're looking at this week. If you missed last week, as always, the recordings of the sessions are in the webinar archive, and you can find those on either the YouTube channel, okay, for Admiral Markets, or on the Admiral Markets Global page on Facebook. We talked about, how, here we are, sort of, maybe a little bit, little sort of facetious about talking about the four horsemen of analysis: technical, fundamental, sentiment, and geopolitical, and about how they come together to help us make trading decisions. And that's actually the key thing. It's about working out, about making trading decisions. And, it's kind of, it's quite apt that we're talking today, this Monday afternoon. It's a bank holiday here in the UK, but actually markets are still open and markets have been moving. And why have they been moving? Well, they've been driven a great deal by sentiment and geopolitical, and a lot of that has to do with Mr. Trump, the President of the United States, with a few of his tweets yesterday afternoon on a nice Sunday afternoon regarding the sort of looking at bringing in more tariffs against Chinese products and the impact that had upon markets. And that's what I want to have a little look at later on, ladies and gentlemen, just talking about how, those four horsemen of analysis, technical, fundamental, sentiment, geopolitical, how comments, geopolitical sentiment comments, by Mr. Trump and others can actually drive those markets. And we'll have a little look at that later. It's kind of a nice and very very recent and very relevant little topic for us to talk about. But what I talked about, and I always like putting up this slide because Paul Tudor Jones is a well-known trader, well-respected, a bit of a professional trading hero of mine. If you don't know who he is, well, then unfortunately, you can, of course, you can look at him on Wikipedia, or you can read his chapter in the sort of great trading tome of Market Wizards, where you'll find that this quote by him is fantastic. You may think you're in the business of trading, but in reality, you're in the business of decision making. And the better you can make these decisions ahead of time, the better your results would be. And I would, absolutely back that comment 100% by Mr. Tudor Jones. We really are in the business of decision making, and it's about being able to make the best decisions, based on what we know at that time. And that is going to be a bit of a recurring theme through the next few weeks sessions that we look to focus on in terms of how we make better decisions. We talked about last week about, recognizing, those four horsemen of analysis, all right, and working about, we're in the business of decision making, and also looking about, what's your competition, okay? You talked about how, for most of the people watching this, you're going to be, primarily a private trader working for yourself, and so you need to be able to make good decisions, okay? You need to be able to make simple, quick decisions, robust decisions, because your competition, especially if you're going to try and trade off fundamentals, well, banks and funds, they have floors and floors of all these bright young analysts, okay, who are working tirelessly to uncover every last little bit of data in the market. And so for you to be at home on your own trying to beat them in that old game, well, personally, I think that's a very tough challenge myself. But it's about recognizing that actually you just need an ability to make a good decision, okay? Am I going to be a buyer? Am I going to be a seller? Or am I going to sit in my hands? And that is it. And that's what we touched upon last week. We talked about, how one of the things that can help us in terms of our focus, is that we talked about, looking at an economic calendar, because it allows us to know about some of the future planned global events, some of the news announcements, and identify where trends may end or new trends may start. Okay, and by being able to sort of track some of those key indicators, gives you perhaps a little bit of an idea where there are perhaps shifts in sentiment, all right, within markets, and that might actually help us in terms of making good trading decisions. So we talked last week, okay, about where you can find that information. You can find that on the Admiral Markets website, about actually finding the economic calendar, about how to use it and how to filter out a lot of the news so that you can focus on the major high impact news, so that you're prepared for your week and you're prepared for your trading day to know when news is coming out, because that may have an impact upon your trading decisions. So that's what we touched on last week, but what I wanted to do, as I said, we're looking at, the kind of the four M's, and perhaps last week was a little bit about focusing on, what can we do in terms of markets and method and myself beforehand, and we're just gonna sort of go a little bit further on that about what can we do before the markets even open? What do we have to do to give ourselves the best opportunity to have a good trading session, whether it be a position trader, okay, on a Sunday night, whether you be an intraday trader, or maybe you're just a session trader trading, I don't know, US sessions, you're late at night, or in the late night in the year, and from a European time zone. So it's about what can I do to help prepare myself, to put myself in the best place to be able to master those 4Ms of trading so I can make good decisions and give myself the best chance of a favorable outcome in my trading. And that's what we're going to talk about for a few slides here. So, if those of you who've joined us over the sessions, we've talked about how, different styles of trading is different. And whilst we've focused a good deal on swing trading and end of day trading, we also talked about how, intraday trading is different from that, okay? Whilst you might be looking for, let's say, the same setups, just on maybe different time scales, but in terms of how you actually approach, how you approach that work, how you have the sort of the pressures that you'll be under, you need to just be aware of it so you can manage them as best as possible. And I'm a big believer in that, how part of your success can be guaranteed before you even switch on your computers, which might sound a bit strange, might sound a bit difficult to understand if you're completely new to trading. But I think part of it is about how you prepare yourself for your trading session, okay? How you prepare yourself for your trading day. That can put you in a good space, to make good decisions. Remember what Paul Tudor Jones said, we're in the business of decision making. And that is key about, doing what we need to do to put ourselves in the best place to make good decisions day in, day out. So, what I like to talk about with my own clients when we're talking about how you can improve is that, we're looking about improving performance, all right? And now we have to remember trading is a performance activity. It's a performance habit, okay? And we have to get into the right mindset for it. And one of the things we can do is thinking about PER, which is all about the plan, the execution, and the review, okay? Very, very simple. If you've worked in companies, okay, if you've worked in sports teams, if you've worked in military, if you're involved in any kind of endeavor, normally we talk about how ideally we want to sort of improve our performance in whatever endeavor we're undertaking. We want to be able to plan, execute, review. It's very simple and very easy to say, but you'd be surprised how few people will actually commit to doing it, okay? And by actually committing to do it and just following through, that starts to put you apart from all of the other traders. And that's what I'm here to hope to sort of help you with, not only in today's session, but in the next few sessions we'll look at. So as I said, yeah, if it's so simple, why don't people do it? Well, it's people see it as a bit too time consuming, but the people who do this are the people who start to set themselves apart. And that's what I want for you. I want you to be able to set yourself apart. As I said, you're either a trader, you're either an amateur with a hobby or a professional with a business. Professional traders see this as an investment, all right? They see that the work they do in there is what helps them become the best possible trader they can be, and that's what I want you to be. And so, taking the time to focus on building a performance mindset could well be your trading edge. That could definitely have, a huge impact on helping you be the best you possibly can be. So what do we actually do? How do we actually do it? What are the sort of, the actual processes that we need to follow through on? Well, what I like to see people do, good traders, is, what time do they start? Well, I like to see traders who are at their desk 30 to 60 minutes before their particular session opens. So if you're trading the European, the sort of European index and FX markets opening, well, they normally open at sort of 7 o'clock in the morning. And, and I like to see traders who are there 30 to 60 minutes beforehand, all right? Not just sort of turning up in their dressing gown 2 minutes before sort of the market opens. Yes, you can do that. Does that mean you're going to trade well? The truth is probably not. Why do I like to see that? Well, part of it is, about you being the very best you can be, okay? And as I said, when we're private traders, well, the opportunity to literally sort of rock up, roll out of bed at sort of 5 to 7, set up on our computers at 2 minutes to 7, and then just launch yourselves into the trading. Yes, that is it's an option for you, and lots of people like that, especially if you've come from working in let's say a corporate environment. The opportunity to do that can be quite appealing. But what I tell you is save being the dude for your weekends. The dude is a character from the Big Lebowski, a Hollywood film, who spends most of his day sort of in his pajamas and his dressing gown. All right, I'm not saying you can't do it. What I am saying is that it's part of it is about you getting ready. Okay, it's about what you do before you even switch your computers on to help put you in the best space possible to make good trading decisions. So as I said, if you want to be the dude, well, my suggestion is that you save being the dude for your weekends, ladies and gentlemen. Revel in it then, enjoy it all you want. But when you're trading during the week, okay, you're a professional with a business. You know, and you know, I'm quite keen on this when I see you working with traders, all right, because you know it is your business. I want you to take it seriously, okay? I want you to show the market some respect. I want you to show your trading some respect, and I want you to show your trading capital some respect. Most of us, you know, we've had to build our trading capital through our own endeavors, whether that be through, you know, a secondary job or through saving from our primary job, okay, or you know, utilizing some of our savings. You know, the majority of us, you know, we've had to earn that trading capital beforehand. So it's about showing your capital some respect in the same way that you show your market and your trading some respect. You know, by doing this, you know, you start to sort of differentiate yourself from most people, okay? And as I said, that's what I want you. I want you to be able to master these 4 M's of trading. And by doing that, by, you know, showing your trading, your capital, your business some respect, you start to make a difference, okay? You start to make a difference in how you approach your trading. And as I said, sometimes, you know, there's these little things that you do before you even switch on your computers that can have a huge impact upon your trading profitability. So, you know, what I talk about is, you know, I like to see people how they start the day, what they do pre-market, okay, in terms of what, you know, pre the market opening for them, what they do during the market opening, and then actually what do they do post-market or post-session. If, you know, if you only trade the European session in the morning, if you trade the US sessions in the afternoon, maybe you trade the Asian session in the evening, depending upon where you find yourself in the world. But, you know, preparing for that, you know, I think is absolutely key. I think it can have a huge beneficial impact upon you. So, you know, here's part of what I actually do myself. Okay, you know, you know, it's what helps me sort of try and just be the best I can. Okay, and you know, it's about, you know, preparing for the trading day. What do I do pre-market? Okay, what am I doing before, you know, I even start to look at, you know, computers? So, I used to work for a hedge fund, and I used to have to be at my desk at 6 in the morning. Okay, so I'd be normally waking up about sort of 5ish, and I used an app on my iPhone called Sleep Cycle that helped me just, you know, wake up a little less groggier than most people would at 5 in the morning. Okay, it's a nifty little app. It might just be a placebo effect, but you know, it worked for me. Okay, and if it works, well, then that's actually really all that matters. Making sure that, you know, you're stretching, you're fueled, you're hydrated. Okay, all right, before each session. I have a book I love to read called the Winner's Bible, which I sort of built and wrote, and I can recommend that book to anybody. And then I go some questions at the start of my day, which is just really about, you know, sort of helping me get clear on what I want to achieve, where I am, okay, what my mental state is like. Sometimes I'll write in a journal, okay, if I feel as if I wake up and I'm a little bit, you know, a little bit distracted or non-focused. What I find is actually sitting down and writing in a journal, and I literally will write anything. I don't really care too much what I do. I just look at it as a case of, you know, if there's something rattling around in my brain, whatever that might be, I just write it out, get it out. It doesn't even have to make sense, just get it out. Now, some people spend a lot of time visualizing their session, okay? And I found myself, and this personally, I found I'm actually not that great at doing personal visualization. I'm not bad, but I find I get distracted, you know, when I try to do it. So what I actually did was I wrote down what a perfect session was for myself. Then I got a friend of mine who she's an actress. She's, you know, she's got a fantastic voice, and she read that out, and I can listen to that, and that helps me. It's like a guided visualization. Also, you know, I find focusing on gratitude, all the things that I'm grateful for, even just having them, being grateful for having, you know, be living in a time, in a place where I can actually sit, you know, in my home or my office or wherever I may be, and sit down and actually just focus on doing something I love, which is engaging with markets and being grateful for that. And then I also find, you know, personally listening to a bit of music, I enjoy. You know, it doesn't. You know, and that's a very personal thing, all right. So yeah, at the moment, I kind of like a song "Give Me the Prize" by Queen. I'm sure you all have your own particular favourites, but just something that, you know, just puts you in a good space, okay, that triggers, you know, good feelings, good emotions. It doesn't have to be hard rock to get you pumped up, okay. It, you know, it can just be something that, you know, puts a smile on your face. I'll also do something called I conduct my psychological fitness routine, which is something I will do and something we'll touch upon in a later session when we talk about advanced tactics. And it's only then, okay, it's only then that I fire up my computer. So I'm still doing quite a lot before I even switch on the computers and look at the charts. Okay, as I said, it's about preparing for my trading day. It's about doing what I can to put myself in the best, you know, best opportunity possible to make the, you know, to make the best decisions I can during the session. So, what I'll be looking at is, sort of having a look at how, what's the calendar for the upcoming news. Remember, we talked about that last week. I'll also want to have a little look at what the last night's finish was on the US indices, how that's carrying through in the overnight Asian session. From trading FX, well, I want to have a little look at what's the US dollar done overnight. Okay, remember, US dollar's big daddy. And I'll have a little bit of look at the futures. What are the futures talking about in terms of, the DAX and the FTSE, okay, and even perhaps at that time some of the American indexes. What are the, that gives a little bit of an indication of the sentiment that's going through. So hopefully you can see that, that's just before, before I've even taken a trade, there's actually, I'm doing quite a few things. I'm going through a little process, okay? Going through a little process, just taking a little bit of time to put myself in a good space, and I find that it's, it puts me in a good space before trading starts, all right? And that helps me. And if I do all of those things and I'm still feeling a little bit not really up for it, or I'm still feeling, maybe distracted, or I'm feeling, sort of frustrated, or, there's something not particularly right, well, then I know in myself that I'm actually better to take myself away, go for a walk around the block, go to the gym, go and do for a run, go out and have breakfast somewhere, read the paper, and just work on myself, because there's nothing worse than being a bit distracted and frustrated and maybe a little grumpy and then trying to trade, because we tend to make poor decisions. So, these are all these things helping to help me master the 4 M's of trading, put myself in a good space before I start my trading. So, I talked about, some of the questions I will ask. I've got a few simple ones that I ask myself, and here's a bit of a kind of a spread of them that you might be able to take and work on yourself. They might actually help you, from questions like, am I bringing baggage to the day's trade? So I said in the last slide that, sometimes you might be a bit frustrated, you might be lacking focus, you might, be not necessarily sort of feeling the love for the trading, and, just about asking yourself, are you bringing baggage to the day's trade? Okay, what is it you're there? And if it is, as I said, that's when journaling can help. Just get it out. You don't necessarily have to understand it. Just make sure you get it out. And, it leads on to a few other questions there, like, are you carrying over frustrations from losing money or missing opportunity? I know for myself that, I don't like losing money, but, I actually interested, I'm frustrated if I've missed opportunity, if for whatever reason I missed a trade, okay? I appreciate there will be another trade left, but if there's something I did that causes me to miss the trade, okay, then, that frustrates me a little bit, and I just have to, just to have a little bit of a chat with myself about putting it into the context and perspective, So am I feeling particular pressure to make winning trades? For me, I don't necessarily feel that myself anymore. I like taking good trades. I actually really, really like taking good, well-planned, well-executed trades. I get a lot of pleasure from that. And then there's questions there, as you can see, are you prepared? Okay, you're in a good space. Have you started to do things like identify significant levels for the day? Okay, do you feel you have got a feel for how the markets have been trading overnight? Do you know what the reports are scheduled for the day ahead? Okay, do you know what they're going? What is it you're working on? Maybe there's a part of your execution that you're working on, all right? Do you have goals for the day? They don't necessarily have to be outcome goals in terms of, oh, I need to make X amount of money, or I need to make X amount of pips. You can have a series of goals and objectives for the days, all right? Also being aware of, the mistakes that you've been making, okay? You remember, if you make a mistake and you learn from it, that's absolutely fine, okay? But if you make a mistake and then continue to keep making that mistake, well, and at some point it's becoming a choice rather than a mistake, and it's about recognizing and understanding that. If they're looking at, what improvements have I made that I want to cement, we're all, as traders, we're all trying to develop. We're always in a state of evolution, trying to get to our next level of traders. And do we know what kind of trades have been working best for me, and am I prepared to actively look for those? Well, I know for myself, I've got a few setups that I really particularly love, and and I'm very, very happy to sit on my hands until I see those setups occur. Okay, some days there's lots of those setups, other those days there aren't any. That's just the nature of the gig and the way I trade in that way. And it's a good thing, what did I do best in yesterday's trading that will continue today? It's good to have some things that bring out the positives from our experience. And that final question is a good one, all right? What would make my trading day a success, even if I don't make money, okay? And the reason is that, it's very easy, especially as a new trader, to become very attached to the outcome of your trades, okay? And if the trade, if the trade is a winning trade and generates funds, well, then, of course, people get, high off it. If the trading is a poor trade or it loses, okay, then, the people can be a little bit down and despondent about that. But actually, you realize the more trades you take, that, there's very little you can do about that, the outcome of the trade. Okay, you don't have as much control over the outcome of a trade as you'd like to think. So it's about, what are the things you can do to make your trading this day a success, even if you don't make money. Okay, there's no reason why you might there should be every reason why you can leave a trading session and still feel good and positive about yourself. So as I said, those are questions that I use. Okay, I don't answer all of them every day, but there are a few of them that keep recurring for me that I will use. And there might be something you can add into your own little own process. Okay, to help, as I say, get you in the right space for your trading. And part of this, is a little bit about having the right kind of routines and processes. So, one of my sort of friends, clients, he wrote a very nice post about, his own trading routines and processes that we worked on and how they had helped him. And you can have a look at that. It's on that particular blog post. And if you want to read more about that and why it's important, well, I may have talked about a book called The Checklist Manifesto, by a surgeon, Harvard-trained surgeon Atul Gawande, and I always recommend that to traders to read, because that can help really cement why having these kind of little processes, having these kind of little routines and habits are all good for us and help us be the best trader that we possibly can be. So as always, we're just going to quickly glance through the our 10 steps, because that's what we always do, because I want the more you hear it, the more it sinks in. Right, remember we talked about those 10 steps. First step, whenever you open a chart, define levels of support resistance. Step 2, define if there's a trend. Step 3, see how price reacts at key support resistance levels. Step 4, look for those price action signals at support resistance levels. Step 5, are they part of a bigger chart pattern? Then the sort of the back 5, okay, risk, the 5 R's. Step 6, risk, define your risk, accept it, stick to it. Step 7, reward. Are you using a target or using your trailing? Know your exit before you're into your trade. Step 8, keep scrupulous records so that you can conduct step 9, which is a review, which is what you do to improve your performance by debriefing your trades. Step 10 is repeat. Consistency and discipline are key. It's very hard to be consistent without being disciplined. It's very hard to be disciplined without being consistent. So we always talk about those quick 10 that's because we want you to sort of to sink in, for it to become almost like automatic that what you do in the way you act in your trading. We looked at the kind of the instruments to look at, those FX 28 major pairs plus the dollar index. We did a session a few weeks back on about how to set up a profile for each of the major FX currencies. By all means, have a look at that on the Admiral Markets YouTube channel. You can sort of touch into that and understand how that. We've been through about setting up profiles for the indices. Okay, we have one for indices, one for commodities. Okay, both the hards and the softs. About looking at equities, all right, in particular FANGs and some of our own little favorites. And we even looked at setting up profiles for Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin has risen from its slumber over the last few weeks, all right, and we'll have a quick look at the charts for the last 5-10 minutes just to sort of make you aware of why that is important. So remember, step 1, define level support resistance, okay? Look at the monthly, the weekly, daily charts, draw in those levels of support resistance and any particular psychological round numbers. So for example, as I say, pound against dollar has been around about 130, dollar yen has been around treble 1, okay? Those become levels that traders are interested in. We want to be able to define if there's a trend, good trends leap off the chart at you, okay? If the price is above the 20, the 50, and the 200, that can help us just confirm that we are in a trend. Step 3, okay, looking to see how price reacts at those support and resistance levels. That's about confluence of events. We want 2 to 4 things coming together at one time and place that gives us an opportunity. This is where we want to make a decision about where and how we're going to do our business. Step 4, okay, when we're out there, look for the particular price action signals. We've covered things like pin bars, engulfing candles, inside bars, 3-bar reversals, key reversals, okay, the sort of combinations between key reversals and 1, 2, 3s. We look at the power of the 20-period moving average and the 1, 2, 3 pattern, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different setups there, okay, that you can take away and work and meld into your own particular style of trading. All of those there are in the archive section, so by all means, make sure you go back and have a quick look at them. Step 5, okay, just look for some of those big chart patterns. They're out there, okay, you'll get to see them. And the more you practice hunting for them, the more you'll actually see them. So, what we're looking for in our future sessions, all right? So, we've been talking here about, the pre-market, and that's what we're going to carry on, okay, in terms about managing performance. We're talking about the 4Ms myself, managing performance. It's important, okay? As I say, things you can do before the session, during the session, and after the session to help you manage and improve your performance. Over the summer, later in the summer, we're going to talk about shorter term trading, and also towards the end of the year, we'll go on about advanced trading tactics that we will look at. So, as always, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you're managing those 4Ms of trading: markets, method, money, and myself. Are they all in alignment with you? Okay, can you actually answer that question? Do you know if there's one or two of those sessions that are out of alignment? That's okay. Part of it is about raising your awareness to know when you are, so that you're in a position to do something about it. As always, if you have any questions about this session or about Admiral Markets themselves, by all means, you're very welcome to get in touch with the account representative. You can give them a call on that London number 02035 140 756. Drop them an email at hello@admiralmarkets.com. You can find, as I said, all of these sessions on the youtube.com/Admiral Markets or facebook.com/Admiral Markets Global. You just bear with us a moment. We'll just quickly switch across to the charts and have a little look about what's been going on, because it's been an interesting 24 hours in the markets. So just bear with me. Here we go. Let's have a look. We've got our indices. So here we go. Hopefully you can still all see the screens. Okay, just to check that you can all hear my voice. You can all see the screens. Okay, you can see here we have the Admiral Markets Supreme Edition MetaTrader here. And those of you who've maybe been keeping an eye on or coming new will see that we've had a rather eventful 24 hours. Okay, driven by quite a few things. Not driven by the new royal baby in the UK, which I understand has made an appearance in the last hour or so. So congratulations to them, but that doesn't really have any impact on markets. But what has had impact on the markets over the last 24 hours is in particular Mr. Trump and some of his tweets that he sent out yesterday afternoon. Remember, at the start of this session, we talked about, how sentiment and geopolitical, they can be shifting markets these days, okay? And Mr. Trump, sent out a couple of tweets yesterday afternoon with regards to the trade talks with China, which were due to start again this week. Also about how he was going to raise tariffs on Chinese products at the end of this week. Not surprisingly, that gave markets a little bit of a scare, okay, quite a scare, in fact, and that made markets, when they opened last night, that we had quite a few gaps and quite a few moves. So I thought this is an opportunity to have a little bit of a look at it and understand what's actually happening there. So if we look at, let's have a little look at some of the sort of. Firstly, let's have a look at the China. Okay, so I'll be touching on this on Tuesday morning as well. So those of you can join us. We do the Admiral Markets. We do the real-time daily trading ideas, 10 o'clock London time all week. But my session is tomorrow, Tuesday morning. You're very welcome to join, because I talk about all of the ways we've covered in these sessions, are just how it helps build my market view, so that I can give you an idea on trading ideas. This is the China A50 market here. It's the weekly chart, okay. And we've been on quite a fantastic tear here, all year, okay, which was maybe given a bit of a hint that people thought the market was going to there was going to be a deal done. But we can see a couple of weeks ago we had this really rather big weekly engulfing candle, okay, almost a key reversal candle. We opened at highs and really fell down and closed at lows. But what we can see is this week is that we've had a bit of a volatile. We opened from opening up here at 13,700 odd. Okay, just get all the exact numbers here. Okay, from closing here on Friday at around about 13,750. Okay, well then invariably we gapped down, opened sort of what's that? That's about 500 pips lower. Okay, 500 ticks lower. And if I go down to the daily chart, let me just take this off. There was looking at the trades there. We can see that today's session. Okay, we have pulled back a little bit. Okay, if I go down to the hourly chart. We can see that we have pulled back a little bit, but invariably from Friday's close to basically opening last night and then pushing down, there's invariably a little bit of been quite a drop down there, okay, and it's not a surprise for us to see an element of a reaction, and undoubtedly we'll see more of that as we now have a big gap to fill here, okay. So that's what we've just seen there on the Chinese market, and then we look at, well, how has that also played out on the American markets here, okay. And if we just look here, okay, this is the weekly chart of the S&P 500. We really, last week, we pushed to all-time new highs, but actually then we had the sort of the move, the gap down here, okay. Just if I go down to, there we go, on the hourly chart, we can see that invariably, we're having, closed, having had a strong close on Friday after the NFP numbers. Well, Sunday after Mr. Trump's tweets, we gapped down, we pushed further down. We've had a bit of a double bottom there, okay. We've double bottom there with a strong candle there, okay, and we've actually sort of drifted our way back up. As I said, there's a gap here now to fill, and it'll be interesting to see how the market takes that. Is that an opportunity for people to buy another dip? Well, we'll see that over the remainder of this session today. But that's clearly given us a bit of an indication of there was we had quite a big drop there. And if the sort of the Dow did the same. It wasn't really the gap in the same way that it's represented in the charts, but you can see for yourself that we've actually had a pretty strong drop there. We double bottomed there, okay. 26,000 kind of held, and we've had a bounce up from there, okay. So the interesting thing is, we'll have to watch and see how does that market react for the rest of the session, okay. Will it continue on to grind its way north to fill any gaps, or will it actually sort of just roll over as it goes? And we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that over the rest of today's session overnight and tomorrow morning. Not surprisingly, we can see that had a little bit of an impact on most of the other sessions that we looked at. So even if I look at the DAX here, okay, DAX here, we once again we pushed to highs there, okay, on Friday, very positive, but we can see, we tried to we gapped down, we tried to push up, and we fell down, okay, and then this afternoon we're making a little bit of a recovery, but I suspect that is more to do with just the sort of algos following the Americans, the American view. That's what we're particularly looking at there. FTSE's primarily a sort of FTSE's kind of primarily closed today. Okay, as I said, it's a bank holiday in the UK, but you can see that there was definitely that you can see over those kind of markets, there's definitely been a reaction there. And if I look at a couple of other charts, okay, of like linked instruments, we got to see start to try and see is there a bit of a picture building that we can work with, okay, that might help us make some decisions on our trades. If I look at the dollar index, it will actually, strange enough, after a bit of a shift on Friday, today's session has actually been quite relatively quiet, okay, in the dollar overall, okay, having had the big move there on Friday, okay. Look at that. Interestingly, if I look at this on the 4-hourly chart, here we go. It's been an interesting kind of week or so. Those of you who join me for the real-time daily trading ideas, we had a nice double top there, which gave us a trade down there, okay, last week, right up until FOMC, where bullish key reversal there. Hopefully you can see that, maybe pushed its way up. And then on Friday, we basically entered this kind of bearish pin bar here, which is also now a lower high, and we fell away from that towards the end of Friday's session. But excuse me, today has been just a little bit of a quiet day, okay, a little bit of a quiet day. But if we look at other instruments, I'll start to have a look at gold here. Let me just bring the gold chart up. What I see there, is gold, okay, on the weekly chart. It's just, there's clearly, we can see from the wicks here that there's been some support down here, okay. You can see it on that weekly basis, even though we've been in a nice downtrend, okay. There's some support there. If I go down to the daily chart, I look at that and think to myself, is that a daily bottom? We talked about this in the real-time daily trading ideas about the 1280 level, and price seems to have a sort of a reaction there, and it's about looking at how that's playing out there. Is that a double bottom forming there, okay? But then you'll be looking at, well, this just sort of kind of supporting resistance line. You'd be wanting to see that broken and held above it to start to give us an indication that we might get a bit of a push up there. If we go into the 4-hourly chart, okay, just zoom out a bit there. Okay, we can see that, yep, there has been a bit of gold buying there at the end of last week, but also this week is a little bit of a fallback. But I think as the market goes on, as the week goes on, we're going to start to see some kind of changes and moves. That's kind of very interesting for us. And then also, I was kind of interested to look at Bitcoin as well. Okay, why am I interested in Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin, we've talked about it here, all right? Bitcoin, we sort of, in that kind of big descending triangle, broke down to where we thought it'd go, and then it just kind of broke the trend line, but didn't really set the heart on fire. But actually, a couple of weeks back, we had a big shift. Okay, a shift bar. Lots of people came in and bought Bitcoin, and then last week after the even though we've had a bit of a move, we had quite a strong bullish sign there on the Bitcoin against the US dollar. It's it's back and closed above the 50-period moving average. Okay, which if you look at that on the weekly chart, okay, it's not really closed above that for since May of last year. So it's a whole 12 months that it's been really closed beneath it until last week where we closed above it. So it's an indication of, are we seeing a bit of a move there, okay, into Bitcoin? Is it a case of, as we see in the news, that China starts to have some capital controls in terms of they have lowered the limits on what you can withdraw in terms of foreign currency and dollars from a bank? Is it a case that if there's a little bit of a cap, if they're trying to prevent a capital flight, have we seen a bit of a move there towards Bitcoin, people shifting their money into Bitcoin? Personally, I'd still need to see it get above 6,000 whole before I got interested, but we can definitely see over how this last month, okay, we can see that there's definitely, as I said earlier, the cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin are, it's awaking from its slumber, and we'll be interested to see what opportunities that will provide us with over the next few days and weeks. Not unsurprisingly, we've also seen that, if I look at the Japanese yen here, okay, we've had over the last week and today, okay, we've had a bit of a shift into the yen. The yen has gone strong. We talked about buying strength and selling weakness. Yen has strengthened, okay, over the last few days. Yen is very much the risk-off trade. So if there is a little bit of volatility in the markets, well then invariably it's not a shock to see that the yen strengthening across the board as capital just runs and hides there, okay, for the moment. So if we look at that, excuse me, on the the hourly chart, we can see that we talked earlier about it's around about treble one, but we're just looking at how that, it's a bit of a messy session there at the moment. Okay, so I'll just be keeping an eye on that and seeing how that plays out for us. Oil itself over the last few days has been dropping off as well as part of the thing. We can see that we got back up to those that area around about sort of 63, 64, and where the 50-period moving averages as well. We had a bit of a topping out formation there, okay. And if we go down to the daily chart, see it's drifted back there, okay. Almost could be, some people would look at that as a bit of a flag pattern there, okay. Price has retraced back to where this 50 and 200 is, and I'll be interested to see if getting a bullish pin bar, whether that is actually a sign of an opportunity to buy into that back up to that kind of 64, 65 level. So just keep an eye on that for the moment. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, just as I said, I want to have a quick look through some of the markets just because of what we saw happening last night. I think it's going to be an eventful week. I think there's going to be quite a bit happening. So if you want to learn more about that, then please, by all means, come and join me on the real-time daily trading ideas session tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock London time. Come and join us, and we'll talk through what opportunities are in particular setting up for us. As always, I wish you the very best of success in your own trading, ladies and gentlemen, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Many thanks.